Hello, you fun and delightful jellyfish. Welcome back to the Collective Practice Podcast. I'm Lauren Spalding, and this is a podcast for mental health entrepreneurs where we talk business, clinical skills, and your own mental health. And today, what I want to talk about are 5 mistakes that you're making with your online presence. Mistake number 1. You are investing in the wrong overhead to create an online presence. A lot of newer therapists or therapists that are new to private practice feel pressure to have a website set up. You want somewhere that people can land and really go more in depth on who you are, who you serve, and how to contact you. Now, that's all great in theory, but let's think about the process of someone finding you as a therapist. When someone is searching for a therapist online, they're typically going to be using general search terms like therapist in my area or family therapist in my area. A lot of times people do not initially search their therapeutic goals or their therapeutic issues to find a fit for them. So then when they hit that search button, the first page of Google is typically going to be filled up with listservs, with bigger websites that post all of the therapists in their area. So they're going to see Therapy Den, Inclusive Therapists, Psychology Today, Sondermind, BetterHelp, all of these websites that have been created to curate the list for them and find them their perfect match. After those search terms show up, you're going to see bigger practices. So you're going to see hospitals, inpatient and outpatient facilities. You're going to see group practices, nonprofits. All of that is going to show up before individual therapist websites. And when we even get there, your website is competing with all of the different therapists in your area. So it's very unlikely for you to be showing up on that first page consistently when your ideal client is seeking you out. Now, a website is a good thing to have for your business in the long term, but when you're at the beginning of your practice, you really want to be thinking about where your finances are going and how to get the best bang for your buck. So the better investment is to join listservs, to be on Therapy Den, to be on Inclusive Therapists with your bio, where you can talk about the services that you provide, the populations you see, and what your specialties are. Because when someone opens that listserv, they then start to get more specific about what they're looking for because they're being prompted to do so. And so then you're going to show up on that first page of therapists because they've now narrowed the search from therapists in their area to I'm looking for a couples therapist who can help with sex therapy issues and is open to seeing LGBT clients. If that's your niche, you're going to show up as one of the therapists that are the right fit for them. So through that, you're spending less money and you're getting more and more traffic to your office, which that's what we want. That's what we need. It doesn't matter if the traffic is going to your website or your social media accounts. We're not content creators. We're not Instagram influencers. We want our traffic to be going to us directly where they're calling or emailing us to get on our schedule. Now, the second mistake you might be making is getting way too caught up in social media marketing. If you're constantly posting or constantly trying to engage and grow your audience on social media, you are likely falling into what is called productive procrastination, where your priorities are not exactly aligned with your business goals as you go through it day to day, and you're not feeling like you're getting any forward momentum. When you think about social media marketing, you want to be thinking not about likes or vanity metrics, but more about how social media is being used as a marketing tool for your services. How many people are going to then contact you or refer to you because they saw how you're posting online. This is going to save you a lot of time and allow for you to spend more time on other things that are also just as important for building your business. Now, the third mistake you might be making with your online presence is that you are copying others' formula. And I don't mean that you're plagiarizing or that you're stealing what they do, but you're being heavily influenced by how other therapists are posting online. And that's a really easy mistake to make because you see that this person's calendar is constantly full, or you know that they're making good money in their practice. And so you're like, all right, so I'm going to kind of follow what they're doing to get the same results. Now, the reason this doesn't work is because you don't know the actual data of how much of their business was built from social media. You also don't know what phase of marketing and business planning they're in. So if they're in a different phase of business planning, their marketing strategy may have changed from what it was when they were at your phase of your business. So if you try to just take what someone does and tweak it to work for what you do, you might not be getting the same results as you would if you were creating your own unique marketing plan that's specific to what you're doing, what you're building in your business, and what populations you serve, what specialties you have as a therapist, so on and so forth. The fourth mistake you might be making with your online presence is not having a clear brand. Now, branding is more than just the color scheme that you picked for your online presence. Branding is also what your brand voice is, what's your brand position, your brand message. All of this sums up how someone is experiencing you as your brand. And what not having a clear brand could look like is that you're always posting other people's stuff. You're reposting and sharing memes and sharing other people's content. Well, that's not a clear brand for you because people are seeing other people's brand voices and other people's opinions and places that they're coming from, their perspectives, versus your own. Another thing that you might be doing is you might just be taking general templates, throwing something on there and slapping it on your website. Again, it's not going to stand out as, that's a post from so-and-so, because they're never consistent and they all look different and don't have a general theme and a general aesthetic. Another way that you might not have a clear brand is if you don't have that clear brand voice. Now, the best way to overcome that is to imagine you're speaking to your friend when you're posting and really make sure you're speaking from the heart versus trying to follow a copy template or trying to find the perfect buzzwords or say the perfect thing. If you're always appearing kind of robotic or appearing like you sound different in each post, your audience is not going to get a clear idea of who you are and what you're bringing to the table, and your brand message is going to be very convoluted. And the fifth mistake you might be making with your online presence is not promoting what you do. There are so many therapist accounts that I have seen where their posts are gold. They post really great content, really great tips or information, and you can learn a lot from their Instagram page or from their Twitter, but I have no idea who they serve. So I don't think of them as a referral. I think of them as just this free online resource. And that's not what you're going to be. You're not aspiring to be an Instagram influencer. You're aspiring to be a private practice owner. You want to make sure you're getting traffic from your social media to your business. So if you are constantly just posting information or constantly just sharing your own story, whatever that might be, but you're never talking about who you serve, what you do, what you're trained in, what your specialties are, then no one is going to know how to refer to you. And you're just going to be thought of as any other Instagram account. You're just going to be thought of as another meme account or another psychoeducation account. So you want to be sure that every now and then you are talking about the populations that you serve and what it is that you do, what you bring to the table as a therapist. And it doesn't have to be every single post. You don't need to get salesy. You don't need to feel weird every time you post things and say, oh, here's some information, and by the way, go to my website, or here's some information, and also I work with couples. It doesn't have to look like that. But what it could look like is speaking directly to that audience and targeting them. For example, if you work with couples, you're always talking about couples work and couples communication and conflict, and that is always funneling so that couples or people in a relationship are following you. But if you don't necessarily speak to your audience, say you more like to provide psychoeducation around trauma, but it's not necessarily that everyone who works with trauma is following you, or everyone who has trauma is following you. What you would want to do is sometimes promote what you do. Sometimes talk about the populations you serve. Reintroduce yourself when you've had a good chunk of new followers. Post a story about a day in your life, whatever it might be, where you're just showing people, this is what I do and this is the population I serve. And when you have someone call you in that population, I want you thinking of me to refer to. And of course, make sure you have in your bio what you do as a therapist. Some people want to have like a really catchy bio or something that really shows their personality, but really you need to be using your bio to really clarify what it is that you offer in the mental health field. It's a really big field. There's so many different therapy models and specializations that people can have. So you really want to make sure that that is defined clearly in your online presence, so that someone is not just thinking of you as a passive account, but they are putting you into their brain as a referral. So there you go. There are 5 mistakes you might be making with your online presence. Take a moment and think through how many of those are something that you've been doing that you didn't realize might be working against you rather than for you. And I encourage you to check out my free masterclass where I talk about branding, social media marketing, and business planning. Links down below, and you can find it on all of my socials. And I hope that we can work together and become friends, and I can support you as you continue on your amazing business ownership journey. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. As we wind down from this episode, take a moment to reflect on your key takeaways. How can you care for your business and yourself this week? Don't forget, you are awesome and worthy of a hugely successful career. I hope to help you and support you along the way. I'll see you in the Collective Practice Facebook group and in the masterclass. Visit laurenspalding.co for more details. Talk to you soon, friend.